Hi, I'm Zev Feldman. I'm the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Resonance Records in Los Angeles. I'm also a freelance producer for many other record labels, and I'm a lifelong jazz hound. I became very familiar with Ina going back to the early mid-2000s when the Jazz Icon series came out from Reelin' in the Years Productions. A great deal of that content was from the Ina archives. I think jazz connoisseurs recognize that the Europeans, and especially the French, were very instrumental in documenting a lot of this art, more so perhaps than in the United States, we could venture to say. I also became very aware in 2011 when Sony Music Group released the Miles Davis bootleg series. There was a remarkable concert that was used that came from the Ina archives. It heightened my awareness to Ina, the rich archives, and I was very intrigued and interested. I wanted to know what else is there. I made contact with Ina and I provided a wish list of different artists, and I was blown away, just astounded by what we found that was in this archives. One of the first projects that stuck out to me was very much a personal interest. The great jazz organist and pianist Larry Young. I was just astounded that we found a list of recordings that had never been available before. Now for me, he is a giant in music and someone that never really got his due. And when we found these list of recordings, it became an album called Larry Young in Paris, the complete ORTF recordings. It was released in 2016 on the Resonance Records label. Thanks to Ina and the ORTF archives, the music lives on, it survived. Decades and decades later, we have still found these recordings. It was actually a recording that won the National Public Radio Jazz Critics Poll, #1 album of the year in the Rara Avaris category for historical recording. There was a recording that had been released 11 times since 1971, and these were recordings of the great guitarist Wes Montgomery, recorded in Paris in 1965 on the only tour that he ever did of Europe. Wes was afraid of flying, and he did not come here only except one time on that tour, and one of the greatest concerts that he ever gave was right here in Paris. And in 2017, Resonance Records released Wes Montgomery in Paris, the definitive ORTF recording. And it was the very first time that the Montgomery family was paid for this release. The rightful clearances were made, and we were able to go back. Thanks to the Ina archives, we were able to go back to the original tape reels and capture the best sound possible, superior to any of the other versions that had been living on YouTube or file sharing or wherever. And we were able to make a very important, case for, hey, you needed to have this version. Funk in France is really two albums in one. It was recorded live at Maison de Radio here in Paris in 1969 with bassist Larry Ridley and drummer Don Lamond. And I had known about these recordings because there was actually a video that I had seen some time ago on YouTube. And I was like, wow, that's very interesting. I wonder what else there could be. And then, lo and behold, I was just amazed that we found two sets of music from the 1970 Antibes Jazz Festival. We had enough to do 2 LPs on that, and I felt that the music needed its own release. So we have created Out Funk. This captures a very important time in Grant Green's musical career. And it's just another example of how lucky we are, of the great work that Ina has done to help preserve this music. It's a very proud partnership between Resonance Records and Ina.